Good afternoon, everyone. We're reconvening. We're on page 12. Page 12. From the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 121-2026 be adopted and Bill 23-2026 CD2 pass third reading.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the Executive Capital Budget and Program for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
Thank you. Is there a motion to amend? Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Bill 23-2026 CD2 be amended to the FD1 as described in the posted budget floor draft summary and incorporated into the FD1 identified as OCS 2026-0370.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation of the amendment.
The amendments are set forth on the amendment list incorporated in the bill.
Thank you. I'd like to call on registered testifiers, starting with Cole Nakamura.
Aloha, Chair and Council members. My name is Cole Nakamura. I am an upcoming sophomore and the originating founder of the VMAC Renewal Foundation, an organization I created because I believe deeply in the future of the Veterans Memorial Aquatic Center. So I testify today in strong support of Bill 2326. For much of my life, VMAC has been more than just a pool. I would go as far as to call it my second home. It is where I've challenged myself, grown as an athlete, built lifelong friendships, and become part of a community much larger than myself, and a community that I will cherish for the rest of my life. But because of what VMAC has given to me and so many others, it is truly difficult to watch its aging infrastructure limit the opportunities available to the athletes, families, and community members who depend on it. Every day, these people benefit from this facility, yet its potential remains far greater than what its current condition allows. Passing Bill 23-2026 is an investment not only in a building, but in people. It is an investment in future generations of local youth in our community and in a facility that welcomes visitors from across Hawaii and beyond. I founded the VMAC Renewal Foundation because I believe VMAC can once again become a world-class facility worthy of the veterans whose legacy it honors and the community it serves. Mahalo for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Mr. Nakamura. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you so much for being here today. Next, we have Pikachu Shelby, billionaire.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Thank you. Next, we have Eric Beaver. Aloha. Thank you for being here. Please proceed.
Councilmember Waters, City Council members, aloha, I'm Eric Beaver for Hawaii Reserves. Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Bill 23. There's an item regarding the Wailele Stream Flood Control Study that is included in the bill. The Wailele Stream continues to be the cause of major flooding in Laie, including Honolulu, along with so many other parts of the island. We were hit very, very hard. Insufficient channel capacity and severely inadequate outfall capacity continues to be the primary cause of flooding in our community. For decades, HRI has worked closely with the City and County of Honolulu and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to try and figure out a solution to this problem. And for years, we've been working under the Continuing Authorities Program of the Army Corps. Recent updates of that study, we've learned from the Corps, no longer qualify the project under the Continuing Authorities Program because the federal spending limit would be exceeded. And so they've suggested and recommended, and we've been in discussions with Councilmember Wire on this, appreciate his support and submittal of this budget item. We now understand that the other option to fund this project is the General Investigations Program of the Army Corps, where there's no federal spending limit. And this study is basically to accomplish the first step in trying to find that ultimate solution. HRI through the years have participated as a partner with the city on all things flood control related. And as we have with past studies, we will continue with this study to fund 1/2 of the city's portion. That's been our commitment. Thank you for your support, and just wanted to come and say, please pass this. Aloha.
Thank you for being here. Thank you.
Okay.
Next, we have Noah Schonhard.
My name is Noah Schomer with the VMAC Renewal Foundation. I'm a 16-year-old swimmer for Punahou Aquatics Club and Punahou School ILH, and I'm strongly in support of funding for the renovation of the Kmart Takai Veterans Memorial Aquatic Center. Swimming has taught me discipline, perseverance, and the importance of hard work. VMAC has played a major role in my growth as an athlete, but upgrades to bulkhead, starter blocks, and spectator areas are needed to improve safety and training conditions. Swimming also teaches critical water safety skills, which are especially important in Hawaii, where drowning rates among children are some of the highest in the nation. Improving access to the safe swimming facilities can help prevent these tragedies and give more young people the opportunity to learn to swim safely. Investing in VMAC is an investment in the safety and future of our community. Thank you for supporting funding for the renovation of the Kmart Takai Veterans Memorial Aquatic Center.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony today. Next, we have Don Sakamoto, followed by Natalie Waso.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Okay. Mr. Sakamoto's not locked on. Is Natalie Waso available?
Mr. Chair, Ms. Iwasa is not logged on either.
Okay. Thank you. Next, we have Casey Joe.
Hi, my name is Casey Joe, and I'm an upcoming 9th grader, and I'm the co-founder of the VMAC Renewal Foundation. I swim for my school and my club, so VMAC has basically been my second home. It's where I learned discipline, confidence, and how to push through tough moments, lessons that have shaped who I am. VMAC isn't just important to me, it's where little kids learn to be safe in the water, where seniors stay active, where water polo players train, and where families come together to cheer. It's a true community space, but it's getting old. The bulkheads, starting blocks, and scoreboard need repairs, and the seating isn't enough or very safe for big meets. We're trying to help through the VMAC Renewal Foundation, but we can't do it alone. I've made so many memories here, and I want future kids to have the same opportunities. That's why I'm asking for your support to fund VMAC's renovation. This place matters to so many of us, and improving it will make a real difference for the whole community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 23? Seeing none, members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? to
Oh,
the
Chair, I just have a few comments.
Yes, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the Budget Chair for incorporating some of my amendments. A few ones that I wanted to highlight that I'm very grateful for is, first off, the Kulaupuni drain system. I've had it in the budget a few years. It's been a very repetitive conversation with the administration, but our recent talks have been hopeful. And of course, my community is very, very much in need of this. It's one of the things that if we can address it ahead of time, we can actually avoid a lot of flooding that happens. Secondly, I did put in for a long reach excavator. I know that it was mentioned that DFM doesn't need it, but proactively, we actually all need a long reach excavator to clean our streams. So I inserted that because we did get a new one, but the old one is actually ready to kaput as well. So that's in there. Stabilization funding for housing in my community, very desperately needed. And lastly, removing the funding to acquire a new landfill was one of my most important things to do because our district has been promised that it would never be put on the west side. And more than that is that they have faced so many years of different health effects, detriments to our community. And no matter what is said, we haven't had any reprieve. And so I just really wanted to thank my colleagues here, yourself as well. It's been a huge thing for our community, and I'm hoping that we can put this to rest and move forward with the Ending Landfills Task Force and try to pave a better path for recycling, for the improvements that we're doing at H-Power, for what we're currently doing for incineration. So I'm looking forward to working closely with the administration and as well many community members that are passionate about protecting our environment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Okimoto.
Thank you, Chair. I would like to echo the mahalos. I want to thank, once again, my staff who worked very diligently, along with my committee vice chair, Councilmember Nishimoto, and his staff. Thank you to all of you for all of your input. And once again, thank you to the Office of Council Services, the Clerk's Office, and the Council Support Services Office for all of your hard work preparing this budget. As I mentioned during the previous measure, this floor draft also does not weaken city services, but reflects the needs of our communities. Your Budget Committee has provided additional funding to resurface our roads and to maintain our parks. We have also added funds for stream maintenance and emergency shelters throughout Oahu. We took into account the needs of the community residents island-wide and did our best to find a balanced approach when appropriating funds for capital improvement projects throughout the city and county. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Any objections or reservations to the amendment? Noting no objections or reservations, Bill 23, 2026, CD2 has been amended to FD1. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Talba.
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 121, 2026 has been adopted and Bill 23, CD2, FD1 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 13, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 12226 be adopted and Bill 24, 2026 pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds and bond anticipation notes of the City and County of Honolulu in a maximum principal amount equal to the aggregate of the amounts appropriated in the capital budget ordinance of said city and county for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2027, and specified in said ordinance to be financed from the proceeds of the sale of such bonds and to be expended from the General Improvement Bond Fund, the Highway Improvement Bond Fund, Solid Waste Improvement Bond Fund, the Housing Development Special Fund, or the Taxable General Improvement Bond Fund.
Thank you. We have one registered testifier, Pikachu Shelby Billionaire.
Mr. Chair, the testifier is not logged on.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 24? Seeing none. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Talba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 122, 2026 has been adopted and Bill 24, 2026 has passed third reading. Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 123, 2026 be adopted and Bill 26, 2026 pass third reading.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transit Operation Budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
Thank you. I believe we have Pikachu Shelby Billionaire registered to testify who's not logged on. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Come, aloha, please come forward.
Aloha Pia Mazinga. I stand in support of this particular bill, but with a couple of amendments. I didn't see anything including in the bill relating to the selling of these stations, the naming rights. I didn't see anything related to digital advertising included, or nor did I see anything related to local business discount by using passes of transportation. And I think that that is a way of not only stimulating the economy, but also having individuals, community members actually be involved in the generation. Mahalo and aloha.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify on Bill 26? Seeing none. We're in discussion, members. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba.
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 123, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 26, 2026 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 14, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 124-26 be adopted and Bill 27, 2026 pass third reading.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the Honolulu Authority for Rapid Transportation capital budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
Thank you. We have Lisa Jaso, who's registered to testify.
Hello. Sorry, I'm very new at this and I'm very nervous, okay?
No problem.
So my name is Lisa Hasso, and I thank you, Chairman, Vice Chair, and the council members. Let me make it very clear. I'm a 64-year-old woman who is legally blind. I am not opposed against the rail. What I'm opposed to is you guys giving them more money when they are in violation of the American Disability Act. I have been trying to fight for the last 10 minutes for them to be held accountable. All day I've stood on this phone listening to the meeting, and I've heard a lot of words. I've heard a lot of words of accountability, safety, and we want to make sure our community is taken care of. I want the same thing, but here in the heart of Kalihi, we are not getting that. I cannot count how many times I have almost fallen, how many cuts and bruises I've had on my legs, how many times I tried to arrange the meeting to talk to them. No one is holding them accountable for breaking the law. So if you continue to give them money,
Hello? Okay, if you are able to log back on, we'll take the remainder of your comments. Mr. Clerk, do we have any other testifiers on Bill 27?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members are in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 124, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 27, 2026 is passed third reading. Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Committee Report 126-26 and Resolution 26-62 be adopted.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Determining the real property tax rates for the City and County of Honolulu for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
I believe we're on page 14, the bottom of page 14. Sorry.
Oh, I apologize.
Let's start over.
Okay.
Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 125-26 be adopted and Bill 28, 2026 CD1 pass third reading.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the legislative budget for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. We're in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 125, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 28, 2026 CD1 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 15 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 126-26 and Resolution 26-62 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Determining the real property tax rates for the City and County of Honolulu for the fiscal year July 1st, 2026 to June 30, 2027.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members are in discussion. Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba.
Aye.
Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 126, 2026, and Resolution 26-62 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 16, from the Committee on Infrastructure, Transportation, and Technology, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 141, 2026 be adopted, and Bill 12, 2026 CD1 as amended, which relates to sewers, drainage, and cesspools, pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you, Councilmember Cordero, for the explanation. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members?
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much. I thank yourself and definitely DFM and EMV for working on this bill with us. The goal was simple. We wanted to try to strengthen transparency, accountability, and public access about our wastewater and our storm sewer systems. This measure is so timely because so much of our infrastructure knowledge is held by experienced staff members like Tyler and Randall, who both came to our meeting. They've spent years, even decades, working for the city, understanding these systems. And as the senior staff with that institutional knowledge prepare for retirement, we have a better opportunity to capture that information, put it in a publicly accessible way on the website. And I'm excited to see this move forward. And I thank both departments for being willing to do this with us.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 141, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 12, 2026 has passed third reading. From the Committee on Zoning and Planning, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 144, 2026 be adopted and Bill 70, 2025 CD2 as amended pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This bill relates to parks and playgrounds by allowing dog parks to be credited towards satisfying the requirements for the provision or dedication of land for park and playground purposes.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. We're in discussion.
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much. And I thank all of the council members that have supported this bill and voted in support. This is really about planning ahead. You know, our park and recreational space is sacred. There are a lot of fields, and of course, people do not want to give that up. And so a lot of time, dog owners, people who have dogs, they have to kind of find spaces because they're not allowed in our city parks. So this is a way of us proactively thinking about how we can incorporate it, and only into 10% of whatever new development is made in the city. As you know, there's park dedications that we give to people when they're building different subdivisions. If you do this park, we give you this, discount. And those parks typically have only been for humans, for sports recreation. So a little small portion can now be dedicated towards dog parks. So it's been kind of a laborious battle. I want to thank my staff member Mika for all her hard work, as well as Lori because they pulled together not just our stakeholders, but also DPR and DPP so we could get this done. Thank you to all of them, and thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kia Aina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 144, 2026 has been adopted, and Bill 70, 2025 CD2 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 17, Councilmember Kia Aina.
I move that Committee Report 145, 2026 be adopted and Bill 34, 2026 CD2 as amended pass third reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kia Aina for the explanation.
This bill relates to flood hazard areas by amending the Flood Hazard Area Ordinance, Chapter 21A, Revised Ordinances of Honolulu 2021, to update requirements and construction standards for consistency with the requirements of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to remain eligible for participation in the National Flood Insurance Program and the Community Rating System and for housekeeping purposes.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members?
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
I just want to thank Councilmember Kiaina for her foresight on this. I also want to thank her for the insertion of the additional DEM personnel because it's actually coincides with what this is going to do, which will be allowing us to be qualified for any FEMA funds that come forward. And I do think that her comments made previously regarding the change in the federal distribution of funds is going to be significant. Even though it'll be a big change on the federal level, on the local level, we're going to benefit greatly because then it's going to bypass the state government, come straight to counties, but we need to be well prepared to administer those funds and to help our communities. So thank you to her and to her staff.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tam.
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Tolba. Aye. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 145-2026 has been adopted. Bill 34-2026 CD2 has passed third reading. Moving to the top of page 18 from the Committee on Budget, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 128-2026 and Resolution 26-106 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, E&V authorizing a transfer not to exceed $1,500,000 in solid waste special fund monies from the refuse collection and disposal activity, salaries, character of expenditure, to the refuse collection and disposal activity, current expenses, character of expenditure.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do you have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you, members. We are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 128-2026 and Resolution 26-106 CD1 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 129-26 and Resolution 26-107 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, DFM authorizing a transfer not to exceed $1,487,000 in general fund and highway fund monies from the provision for energy costs activity, current expenses, character of expenditure, to the Department of Facility Maintenance, Public Building and Electrical Maintenance Activity, current expenses, character of expenditure, and the Department of Facility Maintenance, Automotive Equipment Services Activity, current expenses, character of expenditure.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 129-2026 and Resolution 26-107 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 19, Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Committee Report 130-26 and Resolution 26-109 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating for the transfer of funds,
Could you tell us exactly
Sure.
what it's for?
HPD authorizing a transfer of up to $4,000 in general fund monies within the patrol activity from the current expenses character of expenditure to the equipment character of expenditure.
So we're transferring money from patrol to equipment. Okay. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none. CR 130-2026 and Resolution 26-109 CD1 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 131-26 and Resolution 26-114 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, DTS authorizing a transfer not to exceed $1 million in transportation fund monies from the provision for energy cost activity, current expenses, character of expenditure, to the Department of Transportation, transportation mobility activity, current expenses character of expenditure.
Thank you. Is there a motion to amend? Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I moved to amend Resolution 26-114 to the posted FD1.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation of the amendment.
The FD1 makes the amendment set forth in the written summary as posted on the agenda.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Noting no objections and no reservations, Resolution 26-114 has been amended to the posted FD1. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 131-2026 and Resolution 26-114 FD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 20, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 13226 and Resolution 26-119 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, HPD authorizing a transfer of up to $5,500,000 in general fund monies between the Police Commission, Special Field Operations, and Administrative Services activities, salaries, character of expenditure, to the Office of the Chief of Police, Patrol, Investigations, and Support Services activities, salaries, character of expenditure.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 132-2026 and Resolution 26-119 CD1 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 13326 and Resolution 26-122 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, HFD authorizing transfers totaling $585,000 in general fund monies between activities and characters of expenditure within the HFD.
Okay, the clerk just pointed out, we just want to make sure we get the resolution number correct again. Would you mind making the
Committee
motion?
Report I move that Committee Report 13326 and Resolution 26-121 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Thank you. It's moved, seconded, and explained. And Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 133-2026 and Resolution 26-121 CD1 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 21, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 13426 and Resolution 26-122 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, BFS authorizing a transfer not to exceed $1,322,000 from the provision for salary adjustments and accrued vacation pay activity to the Department of the Corporation Council, Fire Department, and Ocean Safety Department.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members, we're in discussion. Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none. CR 134-2026 and Resolution 26-122 has been adopted. Councilmember Okimoto.
I move that Committee Report 13526 and Resolution 26-123 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, HESD authorizing a transfer not to exceed $57,000 in general fund monies from the provision for energy cost activity, current expenses character of expenditure, to the Department of Emergency Services, Emergency Medical Services activity, current expenses character of expenditure.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none. Any objections or reservations? Seeing none. CR 135-2026 and Resolution 26-123 has been adopted. Turning to the top of page 22, Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, I move that Committee Report 13626 and Resolution 26-124 be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Okimoto for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, CSD authorizing a transfer not to exceed $650,000 from the Division of Motor Vehicles Activity Salaries Character of Expenditure to the Division of Motor Vehicles Activity Current Expenses Character of Expenditure.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members?
Chair.
Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Okimoto.
Chair, if it's okay at the appropriate time, if I could ask a question to Director Hashiro.
Absolutely. Please proceed.
Good afternoon, Director Hashiro. Really quick question. With this transfer of funds and the amount that's being asked, would you attribute the cost of the increases to Act 64, 2024?
I'm sorry, not familiar with that act.
Okay, coming from the state side, the state made this requirement to add the Okina, I believe, to remove it to all the license plates. So is that what this amount, the $650,000, is that what this is to cover?
No, this actually was not attributed to that. Our cost did not increase due to that change. We had some production delays just because we had to go through additional drafts and verification that the Okina was applied correctly, but it actually did not increase the cost.
It did not increase the cost, so the $650,000 is
For
just
other, yeah, for various other kinds of operational costs.
Could you maybe explain what those other
Sure.
operational costs were?
So postage increases. So we actually saw an increase of about 400,000. This is just in total, due to higher mailing activity and USPS rate increases. USPS postage rates have actually increased about 18% since July of 2023. And like I discussed, we did replenish our orders due to the Okina, but it did not increase the total cost. Office supply costs. So we have had toner cost increases for that, and I know that was discussed overall citywide. And then we did have one-time operational expenses due to the driver's license state ID card production system that will be implemented hopefully middle of this year. There were additional types of equipment that were needed, monitors, areas in our windows needed to be reconfigured. So that was some of the cost.
Okay, thank you very much, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, CR 136, 2026 and Resolution 26-124 has been adopted. Moving to the bottom of page 22 from the Committee on Public Safety and the Economy, Councilmember Tolba.
I move that Committee Report 140, 2026 and Resolution 26-116 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tolba for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of $5,000 to the city from Pacific Harley Davidson on behalf of the Castiglione A. Casiria Foundation for the Honolulu Ocean Safety Junior Lifeguard Program.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members are in discussion. Seeing none, any objections? Noting no objections, CR 147, 2026 and Resolution 26-166 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 23 from the Committee on Infrastructure, Transportation and Technology, Councilmember Cordero.
I move that Committee Report 143, 2026 and Resolution 26110, which urges the City and County of Honolulu and the State of Hawaii administrations to incorporate lessons learned from the community-initiated disaster response efforts to the recent Kona low storms into future disaster response plans, be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Thank you for the explanation. I believe we have a number of registered testifiers, starting with Sydney Chung. Is Sydney Chung here?
Hello, sorry. I was unable to testify in person today, so I am going to be doing so online. So I serve as the Assistant Secretary for the Honolulu Youth Commission, and I stand in strong support for Resolution 2610, which my fellow Commissioner Holly Rader authored. As climate change continues to exacerbate storms and their effects, it is imperative that the city takes measures to mitigate disasters with a proactive rather than reactive approach. In the wake of the Kona low storms, there was a overwhelming community effort to aid each other and to actively help one another. And I think that if we incorporate these lessons for future disasters, which are going to be impending as climate change continues to worsen, I believe that a clear measure and resolution to push the city to learn from their findings will be important. Thus, I please urge you to pass Resolution 26-110. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Dominique Bonifacio. Aloha.
Got it. Hey, aloha, Chair Waters, Vice Chair Tupola, members of the Honolulu City Council. Sorry. My name is Dominic Bonifacio, and I currently serve as the Vice Chair of the Honolulu Youth Commission. I submit this testimony in strong support of Resolution 26-110. When the Kona low storm struck Oahu in March and April of 2026, it was our neighbors, our community leaders, and young people who took action immediately and helped to rescue kupuna and vulnerable residents from floodwaters. That type of grassroots response should not be an afterthought in our disaster planning. It should be a foundation. My generation will bear the long-term consequences of how Honolulu and Hawaii prepares or even fails to prepare for imminent natural disasters. As the 2023 Maui wildfires, the 2024 Kauai floods, and now these Kona low storms, these are not isolated events. They are a pattern. So it is not a matter of if the so-called big one will occur, but when. We must take action now, not after, and this resolution is common sense, and I urge that this council adopt it. Mahalo nui loa. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Marie Samudio. Aloha and welcome.
Aloha. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, council members. My name is Marie Samudio. I'm coming today representing the Kaneohe Kahalu Community Emergency Response Team and also as a coordinator for the Cross Island Resilience Network. So the groups that you mentioned in this resolution, the grassroots, the communities, I sent this resolution out to them, a good over 40 members around the island. And I'm here to speak, and generally the membership supports this resolution wholeheartedly. But the question was, what do you intend to do with it? Is this just to ask everybody else to do something? And, or I should just leave it at that. What do you intend to do with it? Had the opportunity to speak with the youth leaders here, and I was very encouraged because that's the group we have to go after. But question is, what do you intend to do, please? Am I going to get an answer?
Well, you're asked, the resolution asks the administration to incorporate lessons learned.
So that's all we're going to do is ask them.
Well,
and they do it already anyway, don't they?
Chair, I think she has a question.
Aina.
Aloha, I just want to say something. So, of course, could be policy changes and the manner of how they move forward, but the most important thing is capacity. So let me just reiterate that currently the Department of Emergency Management only has 16 positions. Through today's budget, we added 13 positions, bringing it to 29. So a lot of first of all, I wanted to applaud you and others, as well as the Youth Commission, for bringing the resolution, to the council's attention, because other neighborhood boards have also passed resolutions, including the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board. And what I told them was that people are asking for a lot of things, including strengthening our capacity with communities, specifically in pre-disaster planning, and we get it. But the personnel that they have is insufficient. So if you don't mind, I'm going to rattle off all of the positions that have been added through today's budget. A risk reduction and hazard mitigation specialist, a critical infrastructure and continuity program coordinator, a preparedness specialist, a logistics specialist, an emergency management specialist, a planner for public safety and infrastructure, a planner for mass care and human services, a planner for CMP and hazard-specific plans, a planning specialist, information specialist, personnel clerk, community partnerships, and community program specialist. So we are listening.
Thank you.
And we're doing what we can, but without the appropriate capacity within the department, we can't do all of the aspirational things that people would like us to do. So we join with you today, not just to support this resolution, but to support you for the efforts that you have led in our communities.
And we appreciate your support too, as well as Councilman Topola and Councilman White, all of you really, in your communities. You worked hard at these Kona storms. So thank you for that, and just keep up pushing. And training is right here in Fuzzy Building, coming up.
Thank you. No, I just want to add that there, from Councilmember Wire, a stream maintenance plan, stream maintenance workers, equipment and operations funds, drone for stream maintenance enforcement, flood mitigation and stream maintenance emerged as a recurring theme across all districts. And I think we all supported resilience hubs. Anyway, is there anybody else who'd like to testify in support of the motion? Please come forward.
Aloha Chair Waters, Vice Chair Tupola, and members of the Honolulu City Council. My name is Jethro Bumanglog, and I currently serve as the Commissioner for Council District 2 on the Honolulu Youth Commission. Today, I am providing testimony in my personal capacity in strong support of Resolution 26-110. For the past couple of months, a series of back-to-back storms brought the most catastrophic flooding Hawaii has seen in over 20 years. Landslides, washed-out debris, and most devastatingly, local communities destroyed. However, amid the uncertainty and devastation, we also witnessed the best of Hawaii. Neighbors helping neighbors, volunteers showing up to feed families, and communities around our island going above and beyond to support one another. As a young person, I believe these examples offer important lessons about resilience and grassroots organization for my generation. Although I will be going to the continent for college this fall, the future of disaster preparedness in Hawaii is deeply important to me. My generation will inherit the challenges posed by climate change and emerging severe natural disasters, and we need our elected officials to support us. For these reasons, I urge you to pass Resolution 26-110.
Well said. Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Please come forward.
Aloha Chair Waters, Vice Chair Tupola, and Council members. My name is Holly Rader, and I'm testifying in support of Resolution 26-110 in my individual capacity as a Youth Commissioner. As Honolulu continues to strengthen its disaster preparedness efforts, it's important that we recognize the value of both technological innovation and community experience. On April 20, at the State House of Representatives Committee on Public Safety, Director Collins shared that DEM is exploring AI-based hazard detection tools, which is an exciting step forward. At the same time, during that discussion, legislators also noted that community members were already documenting flood conditions and water levels in real time during the Honolulu storms. This resolution recognizes that effective disaster preparedness is strongest when we combine these approaches. Community observations can help strengthen the data being collected through emerging technologies. By creating more community feedback, we can ensure that future disaster planning benefits from both technical experience and the lived experiences of the residents most directly affected. After disasters, there's often urgency in the immediate aftermath, but over time, attention fades. Mahalo.
Oh, please proceed. It's okay.
Oh, sorry.
Finish up.
The Commission hopes this conversation continues and will be sure to follow up with them and the various community organizations and organizers to help increase youth engagement in their existing initiatives. Mahalo.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify? Please come forward.
Good afternoon. Dottie Kelly Paddock from Huioha'ula. This is for sure an important issue and near and dear to our hearts. I'm also a member of the Cross Island Community Resilience Network that's been working for over a decade. And we were originally convened by DEM back in the day, but we were also conveniently let loose to do our own thing on our own. And so we've continued as a very diligent group working with our communities. Our communities are the heart of disaster management in our area, and we believe all communities are like that. We also believe that our youth are so important in this effort. We are working in Ko'olauloa with the Kuhuku High School and Intermediate School in starting up a teen cert effort there and mentoring those young folks over a 4-year period, providing them with stipends, and hopefully they will go on as adults, not only to support their communities, but also to maybe go into emergency management. One thing that we did recently after the Honolulu floods was we convened all our communities in Ko'olauloa to sit down and figure out what happened in the storm, why did it happen, and what can we do to mitigate that in the future. And I have a report here that shares a lot of those understandings. But one thing we did come up with, among other things, is that we definitely need to start looking at this mitigation rather than just clearing out streams. We also came up with the stream team idea back after Douglas dumped a lot of water on us, said we were flooded then. Stream teams are a good idea to clear out invasive species, garbage, whatever is in the stream to help mitigate that. But after doing some more research about that, we're not the only place that has streams in the US, and people are doing a lot of things using nature-based solutions across the country. And I think we need to delve into that as well, because cleaning out the stream is one thing, but really looking at it as a way to mitigate disasters in the future, I think we have to go to nature-based solutions. So I'm a grant writer, and the first thing I think of is writing a new grant for this. But it's something that NOAA supports in the past, and there's a lot of other grant features out there that we could use. I hope the city will join us in this effort in looking at nature-based solutions for our communities, because they're there, they're right in front of us. We just have to know a little bit more about it and lead on the right people a little bit. So thank you. I'm very excited about the youth being involved. And one other thing that we really learned in our effort is Ko'olauloa, our neighborhood board, I'm part of that, and our neighborhood board people gave this to me 10 years ago. It's a list of all the streams in Ko'olauloa. We have 25 streams, and of those streams in Ko'olauloa, only one has a stream gauge on it that affects neighborhoods. The others are in public areas like the Campbell Wildlife Refuge Reserve and so forth. But we need some stream gauges out in Ko'olauloa, because we're sitting there not knowing what is going on with our streams unless you go out and take your life in your own hands and try to go there. This is something that technology could really help us with. And so we'd like to recommend that from our groups, as well as a number of other lessons that we've learned. So thank you very much for considering these ideas and this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. You'll be happy to know that we did put money in the budget for stream gauges. Next, please state your name.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young, testifying as a fan of this resolution. So I think instead of feeling defeated because there are so many similar requests since the storms, it's a great start for the Youth Commission, for them to feel empowered. They get to provide advice for future planning. And I got to hear about the planning process behind the team's proposal, as well as the Kapuna's knowledge about what resources are available, how to access appropriations of funding and grants, and what offices is responsible for what, and who is already working together so that in a time of emergency, everyone is prepared to respond. fund. So I think actually for this resolution, it'd be a good idea to legislate student-led programs and training for career development so that they can get job training in disaster recovery and emergency response. And I think this would really focus their proposal. And also, I'm happy that the students they're really passionate about learning about the emergency response coordination between teams. This way they can learn about how are things initiated during coordination statewide and to prepare for countywide and statewide recovery.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to testify?
Okay.
Seeing none, members, we're in discussion.
Chair.
Councilmember Tupola.
Thank you so much. I just want to thank the Youth Commission. Thank you for your leadership and for being here today. I love seeing you guys come out and participate. We're hoping that you guys continue to give us great proposals. I also wanted to thank the Cross Island Community Resilience Network from Ko'olauloa. They invited me to one of their meetings on April 29th. These ladies, a few of them are here, some are not here. Just stellar, just very advocacy-based and community volunteerism. It's impressive, and I hope that with the new positions that Councilmember Kiaina inserted in the budget, that maybe one of them can be that community liaison, making sure that all those voices get into implementations. I also wanted to thank Unified Operations, so Ted Ralston, Debbie Elenecki. There's a small group that's pushing for our emergency response to incorporate AI. Met with them on May 27th, and I'm hoping that Department of Emergency Management will take into consideration their requests. And then personally in my community, Pastor Allen, he's been doing a lot of exactly what was brought up today, which is analyzing where did it go wrong, what do we need to do, preparing to move forward if this was ever to happen again. And a lot of it is institutional historical knowledge. There's a lot of old-time farmers that understand the water and watershed patterns, and a lot of younger kids of theirs that don't. So we have to kind of pass this knowledge down in our farmlands, because a lot of it is actually not city, it's private properties, it's understanding where water flows, and of course, we have lots of military property we have to mitigate so that we can overcome this. But thank you for this resolution and for the wonderful discussion.
Thank you. Any further discussion, members? Before we vote, I also wanted to thank the Youth Commission. This resolution was well written, well researched, and timely, and it makes sense. The Department of Emergency Management is supposed to come out with an after-action report done by an independent group, I guess. And if you don't get a copy of that, reach out to my office and we'll get that to you. It's going to take about 6 months or so before we get that, though. But I want to encourage you to do more of this, because we do listen to you. So thank you. Thank you.
Chair.
Councilmember Kiaina.
Chair, I just wanted to reiterate my strong support for this resolution. And, as I mentioned earlier, our neighborhood boards are all active. And most recently, the Kaneohe Neighborhood Board passed the resolution urging greater focus on pre-disaster planning and mitigation and community resiliency planning in Hawaii. While I mentioned the addition of these new positions, like anything, they're competing with others with a very low unemployment rate. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country. So I just would like to give a shout out to those who are interested that when these positions are open, that you help spread the word, because we need people at the Department of Emergency Management. But thank you for all of your efforts.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilmember Nishimoto? Thank you. Any objections or reservations? Seeing none, CR 143, 2026 and Resolution 26-110 has been adopted. From the Committee on Zoning and Planning, Councilmember Kiaina.
I move that Committee Report 151, 2026 and Resolution 26-105 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Kiaina for the explanation.
This resolution proposes an amendment to Chapter 22, Revised Ordinances of Honolulu, 2021, relating to the subdivision ordinance, relating to the adoption of rules.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Clerk.
Councilmember Cordero.
Aye.
Councilmember Dos Santos Tan.
Aye.
Councilmember Kiaina.
Aye.
Councilmember Nishimoto. Councilmember Okimoto.
Aye.
Councilmember Toba. Councilmember Tupola.
Aye.
Councilmember Wire.
Aye.
Chair Waters.
Aye.
Mr. Chair, there are 9 ayes.
Thank you. CR 151, 2026, and Resolution 26-105 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 24 from the Committee on Housing, Homelessness and Parks, Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 153, 2026 and Resolution 26-111 CD1 as amended be adopted.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift to the City of Shipping Services valued at $2,500 from Mayako Kula LLC, DBA Aloha Air Cargo for shipping flowers and lei from the neighbor islands to support the making and collection of 38,000 lei to adorn the graves of our service members buried at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina as part of the Mayor's Memorial Day ceremony.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, CR 153, 2026, and Resolution 26-111 CD1 has been adopted. Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 154, 2026, Resolution 26-112 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift to the City of cookies valued at $606 from Diamond Bakery for the Boy Scouts, volunteering at the Mayor's Memorial Day event held at National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, CR 154, 2026, and Resolution 26-112 CD1 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 25, Councilmember Tupola.
I move that Committee Report 155, 2026, Resolution 26-113 CD1 as amended be adopted.
Been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola for the explanation.
Accepting a gift of the city on ongoing weekly donations of commercial tea leaf valued at $18,000 from Murakami Farms to be sewn into lei by public volunteers for the Mayor's annual Memorial Day ceremony held at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Members who are in discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, CR 155, 2026, and Resolution 26-113 CD1 has been adopted. Members, it appears that the bottom of page 25 is also a gift. 26 is 2 gifts. 27, page 27, also 2 gifts. I was just informed by Office of Council Services, we can, like we do in first reading, take them all one time. Yeah, so will somebody, Vice Chair, will you make the motion?
Sure. I move that the remaining items as listed as gifts on page 25, 26, and 27 be taken as a vote together.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Tupola, can you explain briefly each of the gifts?
Sure. I move that Committee Report 156, 2026, Resolution 26-115 be adopted, which is accepting a gift of 300 free kids' meals coupons valued at $7.99 each, totaling $2,397 to the city from Old Spaghetti Factory, which was used for the Diamond Head Complex Easter egg hunt, goodie bag, and or basket item prizes. Committee Report 157, 2026, top of page 26, Resolution 26-117 be adopted. This is accepting a gift of 3 Champion Pickleball Net Systems, 12 Engage Pickleball Encore Pro V 2.0 paddles, and 12 Franklin Pickleballs valued at $1,584 from Oahu Pickleball Association. On the bottom of page 26, Committee Report 158, 2026, Resolution 26-118 CD1 as amended be adopted, accepting the gift to the city of 100 small corrugated boxes, 300 medium corrugated boxes, 54 large corrugated boxes valued at $1,360.80 from Rango Packaging to be used for the Mayor's Memorial Day event held at the National Memorial Cemetery of the Pacific at Pu'uwaina. On the top of page 27, Committee Report 159, 2026, Resolution 26-125 also be adopted, accepting a gift of a replacement central air conditioning unit valued at $14,816.75 from the Honolulu Zoological Society for the Honolulu Zoo. And lastly, Committee Report 160, 2026, Resolution 26-126 be adopted, which is accepting a gift of additional modifications to the Gariel Exhibit Pump Replacement Project that includes an automatic shutoff feature valued at $4,995.56 to the city from the Honolulu Zoological Society for the Honolulu Zoo.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers on the resolutions on pages 25 through 27?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Councilmember Kia Aina.
Well, I have to say all of these gifts are fabulous. But I do want to say something regarding to the pickleballs, because the pickleball, the paddles and the balls and the net systems, because I don't know where this is going, but I need to give a shout out for my Kaneohe community. I talked over the weekend with some pickleballers in Kaneohe are deeply concerned and feeling that they're not getting equal treatment to other areas. So for the Department of Parks and Recreation, I guess I just want to say that if we can increase the pickleball court usage in Kaneohe, I would deeply appreciate it. Mahalo.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none?
Chair, real quick,
Oh,
do
I'm
we
sorry.
need to second all of these, or are we good? Clerk?
I believe we made the motion for all of them, so
We're good.
1 second should be good. So CR 157, 2026, and Resolution 26-115. Well, I can just make a one motion, or 1 second. But I can just go resolution. Good job. I wouldn't have been able to. Okay. So
Bottom of page-
resolutions on pages 25 through 27 have been adopted. Thank you. Moving on to page 28, there are no balance of committee reports, no unfinished business. Turning to new business, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-135 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Relating to the appointment of officers for the Hawaii State Association of Counties.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting no objections or reservations, Resolution 26-135 has been adopted. Moving to the top of page 29, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-136 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Approving the proposed budget for the Hawaii State Association of Counties for fiscal year 2026 to 2027.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, Resolution 26-136 has been adopted. Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-137 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Relating to the transfer of funds, DTS authorizing a transfer of $76,377 in transportation fund monies within the Department of Transportation Services, Transportation Rail Division, activity from the current expense character of expenditure to the equipment character of expenditure.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, Resolution 26-137 has been adopted. Moving to the next page, Vice Chair Tupola.
I move that Resolution 26-138 be adopted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Vice Chair Tupola for the explanation.
Authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the land exchange agreement between the City and County of Honolulu and the State of Hawaii Department of Hawaiian Homelands for the Verona Village of a Drum property exchange and approving a revised equalization payment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to amend?
I move that Resolution 26-138 be amended to the hand-carried FD1 identified as OCS 2026-0372.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilmember Quintero for the explanation of the amendment.
The proposed hand-carried FD1 makes the following amendments. A, amends the resolution title to read as follows, authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment of restated memorandum of agreement between the City and County of Honolulu and the State of Hawaii Department of Hawaiian Homelands for the Verona Village and Eva Drum property exchange and approving the revised equalization payment. B, in the first whereas clause adds the date that the council adopted resolution 09-343 CD1, December 16, 2009. C, in the fourth whereas clause, corrects the date that the council adopted Resolution 13-137 CD1 to August 7, 2023. D, in the fifth whereas clause, clarifies that Resolution 22-131 authorizes the execution of an amended and restated memorandum of agreement in substantially the same form as Exhibit B, attached to the resolution. E, adds a new sixth whereas clause to provide that the city and the state of Hawaii's Department of Hawaiian Homelands, DHHL, executed an amended and restated MOA dated June 24, 2022, as authorized by Resolution 22-131. F, in the now 12th whereas clause, it adds that pursuant to Chapter 1, Article 8, Revised Ordinances of Honolulu 2021, the final or draft version of an agreement or amendment thereto that concerns the Honolulu High Capacity Transit Corridor project and places an obligation on the city must be provided to the council for its review before the council's approval. G, adds a new last whereas clause to provide that the amendment of restated MOA was transmitted to the council for its review by Departmental Communication 371-2026 and is attached to the resolution as Exhibit C. H, in the be it resolved clause, adds that the council authorizes the mayor or the mayor's designee to execute the amendment of restated memorandum of agreement between the city and the DHHL for the exchange of the Eva Drum site and portions of the Verona Village properties in substantially the same form attached to the resolution as Exhibit C. I, adds a new second be it further resolved clause to provide that all other provisions of Resolution 22-131 are ratified and confirmed and remain in full force and effect. J, in the be it finally resolved clause, amends the recipients of the copies of the resolution to include the mayor, the corporation council, and the chairperson of the State of Hawaii Hawaiian Homes Commission. K, attaches Exhibits A, B, and C to the resolution. And L, makes miscellaneous technical and non-substantive amendments. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any testifiers?
Mr. Chair, we have none.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councilmember Tupola.
Yeah, briefly, just because Verona Village is in discussion, this particular property is actually on the Mauka-Eva side of the intersection of North-South Road and Kapolei Parkway. So it's kind of more near the Hawaiian Homes area towards the rail, and it's not actually inside Verona Village. So I do think that it's actually advantageous what's going on, and definitely wanted to make sure the community knew that this is not where the homes portion of Verona Village is.
And actually, this has been a long time coming, so it's nice to finally get it accomplished. Any further discussion? Seeing none, any objections or reservations to the motion to amend? Seeing none, Resolution 26-138 has been amended to the hand-carried FD1. Any objections or reservations to waiving Council Rule 19G, the 48-hour notice rule? Seeing no objections or reservations, the 48-hour notice has been waived. Any further discussion, members? Seeing none, any objections or reservations? Noting none, Resolution 26-138, FD1 has been adopted. Turning to page 31, there's no items for the Committee on the Whole. Are there any announcements? Any birthdays? Seeing none. Before we adjourn, I just also want to thank Alika, April, Lori, Adam, Heath, Duncan, Chris, and the whole team, and each of your staffs for their hard work on the budget. Made it through another year. Thank you, members. Vice Chair Tupola for the motion to adjourn.
I move that the meeting.
Oh, yes. We're on the adjournment.
I wanted to be able to speak, and I was told that I could do so prior to the adjournment.
On what measure would you like to speak?
It's not on the agenda.
Let me ask the lawyers. Lloyd, is that possible?
I was told outside that I could do so, whether it was on the agenda or not.
I tell you what, we will adjourn, and then I'll let you speak.
Does that mean everybody leaves?
Hopefully not. But members, you'll stay? Okay, go ahead, ma'am.
After we adjourn.
Okay, we'll
It can't be.
We'll stay.
Yeah.
after we adjourn. Councilmember Tupola for the motion to adjourn.
I move that the meeting stand adjourned until Wednesday, July 8, 2026 at 10 a.m.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any objections? Noting none, the council stands adjourned until Wednesday, July 8th, 2026 at 10 a.m.